So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZW Games 5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below.
What's up YouTube, this is Joe from YUGIOH Games and I'm bringing to you guys an update to Gaia the Fierce Knight. And not just any update, this update is post megatins. So do you know what that means? Yes, Dragoons is in this deck. I have changed the way that Gaia plays. It's a small change, simple change, but it's a change that I'm really enjoying. Is this the change that I would take to like a competitive event? Maybe for locals, but anything above that I would then comprise the deck a bit more and change some of like the play styles. But I think this is a very strong variant to Gaia the champion deck. In the sense that Dragoons is just a powerful card. No one can deny that, no one can say against that. Dragoons is a strong card. The moment it hits the board, it has the biggest target on its back because it's just such a powerful card. And Gaia can make it quite easily, obviously with the help of things like Verta Anaconda and so on and so forth. But it can get those materials on board and then establish the Dragoons turn 1 and then go swing in turn 2 with its powerful Gaia fusion monsters, things like the Magical Knight, as you the Magical Knight champions, as you can see there. Such a very powerful card, can bump up to like 52 with multiple attacks, multiple pops, along with Dragoons with its 3k to 4k attack stat depending on its effects, and just so on and so forth. So I'm going to breeze through this deck profile, explain to you the card choices, and explain to you why this is probably the strongest Yugi based deck you've seen. By what I mean is that it's not like the strongest Yugi deck as a whole, in the sense like one archetypal thing. This is in the sense that I've got other like things. I got like the Yugi mix in here, so I got the Yugi mix of Gaia and DM, as you'll see as I go through the profile. So before I get to that, if you enjoy this, give us a like and subscribe down below, and if you enjoy all that and other content, ding that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on that content. Obviously, if you enjoy a channel, you obviously don't want to miss its stuff, and that notification bell helps prevent that, and all of that is greatly appreciated, and we thank you guys so much for doing so. So with all that said and done, let's get into this Gaia the Magical Magician deck. So obviously you've got to have your free Gaia the Magical Knight. This is your pseudo one card way into your Verta Anaconda, which then is your into Dragoons. Very strong card, really like this card. There's ways that you can just like end on this as well with your Dragoons, so that way for your next turn you can get that magical champion that much easier. Really good. Also helps for your rank 7 plays as well, so do bear that in mind. So we have the free Cursor Dragon, the Cursor Dragon. Just really good card. It searches everything in your deck when it's normal. Special summon anything that lists Gaia the Dragon Champion, which is essentially everything in this deck. Very strong card, really good. You gotta play it at 3. This is the only dragon target that I play in the deck, barring one extra card. You'll see later on, but I don't play the Cursor Dragonfire in this particular variant. If I were to solely just focus on just Dragon Champion and that's it, I'd probably play the Dragonfire as well. But for this variant, where I'm trying to get that Gaia DM hybrid mix for maximum plays, I only just play in the Cursor Dragon. You have many ways to get into it though, so don't you fret. You will see your Cursor Dragon in one way, shape or form. Artillery Catapult Tail, you've got to play 3 of this card. It's an amazing 1-card play. If you don't see your Magical Knight and you see this, cool, you've got your play going on there. It's the main normal summon of the deck. You don't play any other normal summons. I played 2 copies of Gaia the Fierce Knight Origin. I really like this card as a 2-of. With the one rotor later on, obviously, just because it is that additional Gaia in name, and it's an additional extender as well. Very nice extender, helps unbrick cards in the hand, gets that Cursor Dragon graveyard, special summons this card out, so you can go into Artillery Turtle and then you can go into your Magical Knight, Revised Curse of Dragon, and you can see how the plays go on there. For the last of the Gaias, I do play one Gaia, one Soldier Gaia Fierce. Now, I do agree with some people why they're cutting this, just because it is a win more card. It's not like a turn play starter. You're literally using this to just get that extra damages in and things like that. But I like it just because it is Gaia name. The more Gaias you see in your hand, the more your Galloping Gaia gets you to your Curse of Dragon. I'd rather see a Gaia in my hand than a Dragon, just because the Gaias can somewhat play on their own to a degree, as opposed to seeing a Curse of Dragon. So there is. I do play one Summoner Monk as well, though. It's just like that 4th copy of the Artillery Turtle, because unfortunately Artillery Turtle, being its typing attribute, doesn't really have that much good support outside the deck. If you don't see your turtle, then risking that you have lower chances of seeing that Magical Gaia, but Summoner Monk does help prevent that. It is susceptible to hand traps, but it's the next best thing. To run out the monsters, we're playing the 2 Dark Magicians and the 1 Red Ice Black Dragon. So you have an Honorary Dragon in deck. Yep, this is for your Dragoons. I do play 2 DMs just because I wanted more DMs in the deck to access my other DM fusions that you'll see in the extract later on. So that's why I'm playing the 2 copies of Dark Magician and the 1 Red Ice Black Dragon. Though this ratio can be whatever you want. If you want to play the Curse of Dragon 5, just take one of the DMs out. But I wanted to make this a bit more Yugi centric focused, and that means I needed add a bit more DM focus to it. The more DM I added, the more bricks I then came across, and trying to get that mix, so on and so forth. I feel like you've got to, if you want to build this hybrid of Gaia and DM, a Dark Magician, for you guys out there, if you don't know what I'm on about, you've got to find that one side that you focus a bit more on, and then use the other side to just as an engine. I've been speaking to Dale, we've been working on this with Dale as well. He was going for more, when I was working on this deck with him, we were going for more DM with the Gaia hybrid. That can work, and that does work in one way. I just prefer this way, because I think like the Gaia can just work naturally on its own. It has its own thing. It can just do its own thing nice and consistently. And the DM could just nicely fit in there through the use of Verte and Dragoons and other techs I'm playing in the deck, which then you can then just go off with your DM plays, which I'm just focusing more on the fusions, as opposed to like the lockdown control with like your circles and things like that. So try either way, but you can't really go 50-50. That's just the one thing I've just noticed from trying to build these 2 variants. You can't really do 50-50. If you don't have a way of doing 50-50, I'd like to see your variants and how you do it. But I just feel like that 80-20 mix is better. But then you just got to pick which side you want to have your 80%. So that's it for the monsters. Moving on to spells. 2 copies of Galloping Gaia, 2 copies of Chaos Space, and 1 Teleport and 1 Set Rotation. I will drop down the copies of Galloping Gaia. The ratios for Galloping Gaia and Spyro Fusion were like bouncing around like 3 and 2s. I think the 2 Galloping Gaia is just better. Between Galloping Gaia, Gateway, Terraforming, and Set Rotation, you're bound to get a Gaia in hand. And then you've got your other stuff to get to your Curse of Dragon, which is a lot easier. You'd rather have the Curse of Dragon engraved than in your hand, just because your magical card can survive it anyway. So this is why I've gone for this ratio there. For your other searches, in a way, you've got your 1 Reinforcement Diamond, Forge Burial, and Dragon Shrine. These are your other 2 ways of getting your Curse of Dragon in the graveyard. So as you see, we technically then have 5 copies of Curse of Dragon, and then we have tons of Gaias. So your play starters should happen like 80-90% of the time. You're bound to get one way to start your play and get to that Dragoons. 3 copies of Spyro Fusion. I'd rather see this in my opening hand at the moment. It's great to see this in your opening hand, though it is great to search it. So you can reduce the copies down if you want to and bump up anything else in the deck. But this is just what I'm liking at the moment for Spyro Fusion. I want it to have at worst case scenario, I can at least make a magical champion, and that's it. If I can at the very least make a magical champion, cool. I got something on board to just swap my opponent with, have a big beater, and that's it. That, like, at least it's got something to do. At least the deck can do something. The worst case I don't want to have is to just draw and pass turn. If I have to draw and pass turn, that's the worst hand. If I draw and make at least a magical Gaia, cool, at least I've got something on the board to defend me with. So that's why I've maxed out on the magical fusion. The other two fusion spells we're playing in the deck are the obvious Red Eyes fusion for your Dragoons and the one Iotamias. I was battling between which fusion spell for DM to play. And I think Iotamias is the best because Iotamias is that not only fusion spell but that other material target in one card. All it takes is to have a DM on board. I found a way to get a DM on board relatively easy, considering your main goal of the deck and main playstyle of the deck is to go first, make Dragoon turn 1, disrupt your opponent with Dragoon. Whether Dragoon lives or dies, doesn't matter. You've at least defended yourself with the Dragoon, and then turn 2, you go into your Gaia plays, your magical Gaia, other things like that, and just punch your opponent for massive damage and hopefully win the game from there. So you're going to get that DM engrave. So you'll see later on how I've established it so that by getting that DM engrave, now having access to it easily, you just get it on board, Iotamize it, boom. Can't search Iotamize. If you want to, you can play more copies of Iotamize to mitigate that lack of consistency in terms of seeing it. If you really want to see Iotamize, you just only have to up the ratios. For that, I'd probably take out one Spiral Fusion and have like 2 Spiral Fusions, 2 Iotamize and 1 Red Eyes Fusion. So the ratios there can fluctuate. If you really want to go heavy on the DM side but still keep the 80% Gaia and 20% DM, just play 3 Iotamize, 1 Spiral Fusion, 1 Red Eyes Fusion. So the ratios here on the fusion spells can fluctuate, can vary depending on your terms of playstyle. If you feel like, oh, I see Spiral Fusion enough because of Curse of Dragon, then just up your copies of Iotamize. So that's my mentality of the deck. That's how I built the deck. This is how I'm playing the deck, and this is how I'm enjoying and seeing much success with the deck. Your 1 copy of Spiral Spear Strike, you search this with your fusion monster. You don't really want to see any more copies of it. You search it, you play it, done. Your revival cards. This is how you combos well with Iotamize, as well as other things as well. Your 1 Monster Reborn generic provides anything. And then I've gone with 2 Dark Magic Veil. The reason I've gone for Dark Magic Veil, not only can it summon Dark Magician, but it can summon back Dragoons. I kept forgetting for a long time, and Dale came back to me on this one. I kept thinking Dragoons is a dragon type, and I'm thinking, oh, you just revive it with your Spiral Reborn. And Dale's like, no, Joe, it's a spellcaster. I'm like, oh, damn it, forgot. It's like, you'd think it to be a dragon, but no, it's a spellcaster. So, Veil can summon it. Veil can revive it, and you can just keep bringing back your big boss monster of Dragoon. Just keep tormenting your opponent with one of the strongest anime boss monsters in the game, and it's just insane. So, but reviving that and Dark Magician for your other fusion plays with Iotamize, you got all good with just Dark Magic Barrel. You got everything in there in one nice package. You can even get the DM out of hand if you really needed to as well. 3 copies of Call by Grave to round up the spell cards, and then for traps, it's just 2 Spiral Reborns and 1 Spiral Discharge. I was thinking of taking out Spiral Discharge for the second Iotamize as well, because I rarely ever use it. I just like to have it in here just for those like turn 2 plays where you can set this turn 1, flip it up on your next turn and start popping more stuff with your champions. This is the thing you're going to be searching your turn 1 play all the time. You search this with your Curse of Dragon, set it, so that way on your opponent's turn, you disrupt your Dragoons. Whether your Dragoon dies or not, it doesn't matter. You then flip Spiral Reborn, revive Curse of Dragon, revive, adds you your Spiral Fusion, turn 2, draw your card, make your magical champion, and then just punch face from there. So that's it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck, your 2 copies of Magical Gaia and your Galloping Gaia. This is your fusion lineup. In the pure variant, if you're playing like Pot Extravagance, if you really want to play that, just to add a bit more consistency, you just max out on this, double this, and then you'd have to unfortunately max out on your Dragoons as well. Finally, in the game, love it. So glad I pulled it. I only bought 2 tins of recording this video. I only bought 2 tins. I'm like, what's my what's the chances? And I pulled it. I had like the second pack. I was so happy. Like, you only need one of it. I was just so glad. I was just like, just give me one. Just give me one Dragoons and I'll just be happy. I'll just be set for life. So done. I'm so glad. But yes, turn 1, turn 2, simple as that. If you have the God hand, you can get both of these out. You're just like set for life. But that's like the God hands. It's like 5-card combo or whatever. So chances of that happening is very slim, but it's doable. But your main goal, at the very least, the main thing I made this deck to do is Dragoon turn 1 and then Gaia turn 2 as a follow-up, and then just go for game. That's it. Your Magic Galloping Gaia is just somewhere there. Just like, get this card out. Done. But yes, and then to round up the extra deck for fusion monsters, the Dark Magicians and the Magical Knight, these are just the things you summon with your Eye-to-Mice. You can summon Dragoons with Eye-to-Mice as well, but you will never really do that. This is always made with Red Eyes Fusion through Verte, and then these are your Eye-to-Mice targets as well, just to get that extra Yugi DM spice in there. We have a lot of XCs in this extra deck. 1 Airborne, 1 Red Med, 1 Red Eyes Flare, 1 Big Eye, and 1 Draco Sack for your rank 7s. You can make these with your Magical Knight and your Red Eyes. That's probably the best way to do so. Because you get your Magical Knight will then get your Cursor Dragon get your Search. Or you can go Magical Knight and get back your Red Eyes, I believe. Now it has to be level 5, but your Spiral Reborn can do it. So your Spiral Reborn back your Red Eyes, and then you just summon your Knight, then you go into your NXTs. Simple as that. I do play 2 rank 4s because through Artillery Turtle and Gaia of Origin, you can actually make rank 4s in this deck. So I go with Babushka for Store and Digusto for Shuffle back, and you actually get back your Vanillas. And then we play 3 Links. I play 1 Gaia Saber. It's a Gaia. It's simple as that. It's a Gaia monster, so you can actually use it for your other things as well. But all honesty, you can just replace this with any Link 3 you want. I just went with Gaia because it's Gaia themed. 1 Proxy F Magician. It's a fusion based deck, so you can make your Proxy. And then you have your 1 Verte Anaconda for your main Link play. So that, guys, is the deck. I will just quickly run through you the combo, the initial combo you will be doing. It's very simple, very basic, but it just shows you how I've constructed this deck, like the mindset I had when making this deck. This is what I've done. So it could be any combination of getting me into these 2 cards. It can be double field spell. It can be Gaia and field spell. It can be Curse of Dragon and field spell. It can be Gaia and a foolish card. Like, any way to get into these 2 cards is your combo there. So you play your Gaia, summon out your Curse of Dragon wherever he is, hand or grave, doesn't matter, and then your Curse of Dragon is going to add you your Spiral Reborn. You then use these 2 to make your Verte. Your Verte then sends you your Red Eyes Fusion, which then will send you your DM and your Red Eyes, and then you make your Dragoon, and then you set your Spiral Reborn and you pass turn to your opponent. You will have 3 cards in hand in this 2-card combo going first. So you have your discard outlet for your Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Disrupt your Dragoon, pop, negate, do whatever, don't matter. He's at like 4k, so it's going to be tough for your opponent to deal with it. If they deal with it, cool, they deal with it. It happens. You can't really prevent that. It's just how the game works. If they don't deal with it, cool, you got extra damage for your next turn. So let's say they don't deal with it. You know, you've negated the thing that's just going to out it. On the end phase, you'll go Spiral Reborn, and you'll revive your Cursor Dragon. Your Cursor Dragon is then going to get to your Spiral Fusion. And then on your next turn, you'll hopefully draw into either any Gaia. Just any Gaia. It could be any Gaia. It could be your Magical Gaia, it could be your Soldier Gaia, Gaia Origin. It can even be a Turtle as well. Anything. It could even be your Field Spells. Anyway, if you draw into any of your Gaias or any way to get into Gaia, you go cool, Spiral Fusion. make your galloping your magical knight. He's at 52, can pop a card. He's at 3k to 4k. That is game there. Like, simple as game. If this will always be at 52 thanks to Spiral Fusion. If your opponent's got nothing, this is game. Even if this hasn't gained the 1k boost, this is 8,000 damage. 82 damage. Right there and there. If this is increased, cool, even better. And that's basically it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Simple combo, simple mindset, simple everything. That's just the best way to play it, in all honesty. Don't try and go overboard. Though if you have gone overboard and it works, I'd love to see it. Yes, I hope you all enjoyed this. DM Gaia, post megatins. I haven't played the other like DM support. I feel like that's just best in a pure DM variant or Blue Eyes variant, things like that. This is just simple Gaia with a splash with a DM spice, and it works really well. I'm really enjoying it. So guys, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Till next time, guys, as always, happy dueling.